What if 5 ordinary-looking quarters sitting together in one hand could actually contain a story worth hundreds of dollars or, in the right circumstances, even more? At first glance, these may look like nothing more than common American quarters. But take a closer look, because each one represents a different chapter in the United States Mint's famous state quarters program. In this collection, we have Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Indiana, and the interesting part is that collectors don't simply look at the picture on the quarter. They look at the date, mint mark, condition, strike quality, possible errors, and unusual varieties that can completely change what a coin is worth. So before you spend any of these coins, keep watching, because one small detail can sometimes separate an ordinary quarter from a much more interesting collectible. Now let's start with the Pennsylvania quarter. Its reverse features the famous Commonwealth statue standing above the state outline along with the important inscription representing Pennsylvania. Millions of these quarters were produced, so most examples you find in everyday circulation are worth close to face value. But here's where things become interesting. If your Pennsylvania quarter has an unusual mint error, a dramatic striking problem, an exceptionally sharp condition, or a rare variety, collectors may pay substantially more than 25 cents. Some high-grade state quarters and unusual error examples have brought impressive prices at auction. So when you see the Pennsylvania quarter in your change, don't immediately assume it's just another quarter. Look carefully. And now we come to Virginia, one of the most historically important states represented in the series. The Virginia quarter celebrates Jamestown and the famous ships Susan Constant, Godspeed, and Discovery, connecting this tiny piece of metal to the early history of English settlement in America. Most Virginia quarters are common, but condition makes a major difference. A heavily circulated quarter may only be worth its face value, while an exceptionally preserved example, especially one with a recognized error or variety, can become much more desirable. Around this point in the video, remember this number. 25 cents is the starting point, but unusual examples can move far beyond face value. Next is New Hampshire, featuring the legendary Old Man of the Mountain. This design is especially interesting because it represents a natural landmark that collapsed in 2003. Meaning the quarter preserves an image of something that no longer exists. That alone gives the coin a fascinating historical story. But collectors are looking beyond the design. They inspect the surface, edges, lettering, mint mark, and overall preservation. A quarter with scratches and heavy wear will generally remain a common coin. But an exceptional uncirculated specimen or a verified mint error can be worth much more. Some rare state quarter errors and high-grade examples have sold for significant amounts, which is why serious collectors never judge a coin only by its face value. And here's where the mystery gets even stronger. Connecticut brings us another iconic American symbol, the Charter Oak. The reverse shows the historic oak tree connected with Connecticut's colonial history. But imagine finding one of these quarters with a major minting mistake. A missing design element, dramatic off-center strike, doubled feature, wrong planchet, or another authenticated error can turn a normal quarter into a collectible that attracts serious attention. Depending on the exact error and condition, unusual state quarters can potentially reach tens, hundreds, or in exceptional cases, even higher amounts. But don't confuse internet claims with guaranteed prices. Professional authentication and actual sales records are what really matter. Finally, we have Indiana, featuring the famous Indianapolis 500 connection and a torch surrounded by stars. Indiana's quarter is another example of how the state quarters program transformed everyday pocket change into something millions of Americans began collecting. And this is the moment to look at the 5 coins together. Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Indiana may look similar in size and value, but every coin has its own production history. The real question isn't simply, how old is this quarter? The better question is, what exactly is unusual about this particular quarter? So before you throw these 5 coins into a cash register, examine them under good lighting. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling, unusual strikes, missing details, clipped edges, abnormal surfaces, and especially the overall condition. Most state quarters are not secretly worth thousands of dollars, and that's important to understand. But rare errors, varieties, and exceptional grades can create a completely different market. That's what makes searching through state quarters so exciting. You can hold 5 ordinary-looking coins in one hand, yet one tiny manufacturing detail could make one of them much more interesting to a collector. So, what do you think about these 5 state quarters? Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Indiana. Would you spend them for 25 cents each, or would you inspect every detail first? If you have state quarters sitting in an old jar, collection, drawer, or pocket, now might be the perfect time to take another look. Because sometimes the most interesting treasure isn't hidden in a museum, it may already be sitting in your change.